Hi, it's Hazel, excuse me, and welcome to my channel, Hazel Anaka Design. Now, you will see that this is a very different camera setup than I normally use, and that's because this is my first attempt at sewing live and in person. So I'm at my secondary table, and I've got the phone at a very precarious angle. I hope this, it looks pretty good from what I can see on the phone. So let's just maybe proceed with this as quickly as possible, without too much preamble in case something collapses here. So in a recent video, no, you haven't seen it yet. At some point, you'll see a video where I bought a grab bag of sewing notions, thinking that, oh, there must be some seam binding in there, and there was a lot of pink lace. So I felt like it was worth the money. Anyway, as I opened it in front of the camera for the thrift haul, I saw that it was all bias tape of varying widths and colors. So what I said at the time was that typically I would wash it and iron it because this is more useful to me than bias tape with the folds in it. Now you can probably, this is light pink, you can probably see those creases. They're impossible to get out, and that's fine. But the other thing that just popped out of my mouth, I'd never thought of it, like think before you speak, was the possibility of turning all of these flat pieces into ruffles. Now, most of the time we do ruffles out of, pretty little strips, patterned fabric and so on. And, we've all done that, I'm sure. Anyone with a sewing machine has done that. Anyway, I did unspool them all from their cards. I washed them all. I ironed them all. And you can see, well, this camera's so close you probably can't see. But I have a fistful here of this stuff in different colors and widths. So there was kind of a soft mauve color thread in the machine and in the bobbin. So I thought, well, okay, maybe that is close to this pink, and maybe it isn't. There's enough contrast that it would show up, against the solid fabric. So I just wanted to basically check the angle, and I can sew through this and show you how I get the ruffles. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's as much time and effort as I'm willing to put into this. So what I was using, okay, you kind of want to leave your needle in the down position, and then I take something skinny, like a ruler, and I just get 2 or 3 ruffles sort of in position, and then I sew. Now it seems like those stitches are really small, but when I looked, I was finally able to see what I'd been doing. They're a fairly long stitch. Now, I don't know if you can tell. It used to be, I don't know if sewing machines still probably don't work that way anymore, but typically you would want to, I thought that stitches were like how many per inch. So I bet you I've got about 8 stitches or so per inch there. Anyway, so I was using this skinny little ruler. I have also in the past used the handle end of a brush. And actually let's try that. That may even work better. And I think I've also used this tool, whatever it is. It says Carolyn's Crafts, but don't ask me what this is. Anyway, let's try the brush and see if that maybe works a little smoother. When I started the strip. Well, maybe I can't talk and chew gum, so let's just, now you see I kind of goosed it there a bit, so you kind of want your speed to be pretty consistent. When this gets a bit longer, I'll show you what I'm trying to tell you. And this, you know, if you crank up the volume on your TV, you can watch movies or listen to YouTube or whatever while you do this. And it obviously helps pass the time. Now this is, you know, perhaps going a wee bit slower than normal, but that's because I'm at a peculiar angle here, you know, sort of sitting funny. Everything is just a wee bit off. And of course, you do kind of still have to have your fingers fairly near the action to keep things in place until you anchor them with the sewing machine. So, you know, don't lose sight of where the needle is and where your fingers are, but it's a pretty safe undertaking. Okay, so what have we got here now? So hopefully you can see that my this is probably close to 1 inch here that I just bent over. I backstitched a couple of times. Now that is probably unnecessary because this is going to end up being a fairly long piece because the length of bias tape is long. So wherever and whenever I use it, I'm going to be cutting it randomly into whatever length I need. So if I'm doing the entire length of a page, you know, I'd cut a chunk that's probably 8.5 inches tall. If I'm doing something at the top of a tag or the side of a tag or as a tab, you know, it might be 2 or 3 inches long. So basically what you want to do is, I guess what I'm saying is the back stitching is kind of neither here nor there because chances are you're going to be cutting it somewhere else and that back stitching is not going to prevent anything from happening, any unraveling or whatever from happening. And of course, you're either going to glue the ruffle down or sew it down, depending at what stage you are in your project, and also what your preference is. Now, I think, unless I was hallucinating, I think that I heard, I guess, that there are pleating tools out there, you know, like an attachment to your, to your foot. This is an old Kenmore that I bought from a guy, and I've told this story before. He was a sewing, Kenmore was a brand that Sears carried. He was a Sears, I don't know if he was a salesman in that department or, yeah, maybe he was a salesman. So he knew the machines intimately and also, I guess, knew how to repair them. So he has a business and, you know, it's not a huge show, you can't even really call it a showroom, but in the front of his business, he's got these gigantic industrial type or commercial type sewing machines, you know, where it's kind of the size of a table. And I don't know, to be honest, what they do with that, but, you know, clearly the man knows his machines. Anyway, I was looking for a machine, and I kind of tend to believe that old stuff is better than some of the new stuff, especially if you just want a workhorse of a machine. You don't need the 300 options for stitch patterns and all of that. I just wanted something that would be kind of a workhorse, that would be trouble-free, reliable, not electronic, kind of those kinds of things. So after I explained what I said I'm going to be sewing paper, that kind of makes people stop and scratch their heads a bit, but anyway, he went with it. And he recommended this one. Now, I had the opportunity to try a few sewing machines there, which is more than I can say if you were trying to buy a machine at a thrift store. He had obviously serviced it, and it was in top-notch condition, ran like a, you know, a well-oiled machine, so to speak. My presser foot is getting away on me. Anyway, I guess there's plastic. Oh, sorry, I'm banging the whole table. It's fairly light because I do move it, you know, if I need this space for something else, I move the machine typically just onto the floor. And so it's not as heavy as, pound-wise, it's not as heavy as some of the other machines I own, but it is very solid and reliable, and I like it. And I told this story before, and I'll repeat it because it was news to me and it bears repeating. He said that a needle should be changed after every 4 hours of sewing. So, of course, none of us set a timer and are clocking. You know, this isn't like a combine or a tractor that records the number of hours of operation. But I can assure you that I have been pushing my luck. And then after I said that in that video, I did change it. Just because, you know, sometimes you have to walk the talk. This, again, I'm saying this is going a lot slower than it would be if I wasn't, you know, trying to talk at the same time. It is also a fairly long piece of fabric. So, uh-oh, what happened? I was just bragging about the machine. Can't have it go kerflooey now. Maybe it was objecting to something I said. What the Sam? Things seem fine down there. I will persevere. If I do have to cut this just to pick it up and show it a bit better, I will. You know, it's like when you're a new mother, your kid has finally, you know, started. I think I better stop. I've got something happening there. Your kid has finally started to crawl or walk or whatever it is that you want to brag about. And, of course, they refuse to do it when you have an audience. I'm thinking that the paintbrush handle maybe worked a bit better than the ruler. It's a smaller... Anyway, play around with whatever you have. Don't take my word for it. So this is what we have so far. And this, when it's flattened, this is probably an inch in width. So you can see that despite being a solid color, it would be pretty darn nice. So let's, let me just restart and see if whatever was the issue has been cleared up. I don't know, something with the bob in there, I guess. So if you find yourself with a plethora of bias tape and don't have any idea what to do with it, this could be an option for you. And I think, given how busy some of our journal pages are, it would not, you know, a solid ruffle might be just what the doctor ordered. And, you know, most of us, yeah, I have to try to find my foot there. Most of us hate wasting things, so we don't want to discard something just because it's a solid. Okay, I've got a few ruffles sort of folded and ready to go. You just want to stay a ruffle or two ahead of it, of where your needle is. Oh, I was saying that I think there are pleating attachments out there. I don't have one. You know, at one point when there were a lot of videos out there about, what is it called? Sort of free-form stitching. I don't think that's the right terminology, but you know what I mean, where it's just kind of random and circles and swirls and, you know, just, I thought that I too must have that foot attachment to facilitate that. So I went to a sewing store and I sort of guessed it, or from my description of this this shaft here, the lady sold me a $12 thingamajig. Have I ever tried it out? No, I haven't. Maybe I should do that on video one day, because it really was supposed to be the cat's meow, and make it a lot easier and freer to do decorative stitching. So I'm reluctant to rush out there and buy something else when maybe there's a bit of a little teeny weeny track record of not always using what I buy. So there you have it. Ay, this is slow going here. I was hoping I would get through this before the evening is over. And then I thought maybe I would try one of the wider ones, but that's probably not going to happen at this rate. Okay, how about if for a moment, and I know that's not that's not common to have dead air with this kid. Let's see if I can just power through and get this done. So what was that? 30 seconds of silence. Ay. It just like there I've subscribed to, well, at least one person, and I've said this before. If I am taking the time to watch your video, then at least talk. I mean, not stupidity, not drivel, not, you know, mindless, repetitious stuff. Like, oh, that's fun. Oh, we're going to play. Oh, that's fun. Oh, aren't we having fun? Like, that's kind of dumbed down as far as I'm concerned. And who are we talking to? 4-year-olds? Let's play. Not my preference. Anyway. So I guess that maybe I am at the other end of that pendulum. I believe that if you're here and I'm here, then damn it, we better have some kind of a dialogue going on. I'm saying it out loud, you're writing it down in comments. So I'm either trying to explain in the clearest, simplest, least repetitive way I can, and maybe I'm providing an analogy of some sort. Maybe I'm saying something to make you laugh. Maybe I'm sharing the meaning of life. You just never know when that might happen. So yeah, silence is not what we're aiming for on this channel. if I ever do sewing on camera again, I'm going to have to figure out a way to have that foot not escape from me, because like I said, this would not be good long term because I'm sitting twisted, and you know, most of us are prone to backaches anyway from all the sitting, so not a very ergonomic position for any length of time, that's for sure. I'm also doing this at night, so I have an odd light and a, what is this other one? I don't even know if it has a brand name. I think it was something Costco was selling. Plus, of course, the ceiling lights, which are super duper LED 4-foot. I'm trying to look up and sew at the same time. 4-foot or 5-foot. And I have 3 of them on the ceiling. Bought them at an electrical wholesale. Paid, you know, a fair bit of money. Now, of course, the life is supposed to be very good. They also are dimmable. So I really hate poorly lit situations. So and again, if I would have known that this is what I would be doing in this room, I would have probably designed the room a little more differently during, like I say, the design phase, and when I was playing around with layouts and doing scale drawings and stuff like that, because I had it all figured out. How was I going to accommodate my 6 bookcases? Because it was going to be an office, a study, a place of some very serious stuff, eh? And, yeah. Anyway. There's no looking back, kids. One thing I'm very grateful for, I did insist upon I typically leave a little bit of a tail at the end, but again, you know, this will be used in chunks, as I've already said. And again, no point in back stitching or whatever there. But look how cute that thing is. Oh, I've got this thread where I started. And, you know, to save space, like I usually have my ruffles in a drawer in a little tiny cabinet. So, you know, I would just make little, do little rolls like this. Why does it feel like I'm doing this wrong? Should have started at this end, probably. It shouldn't matter, but anyway, so I would have these little sausages standing upright. So that's one way of doing it. Let's just, for the heck of it, I do have a light pink. So again, I don't want to take the time to change thread. Let's just, for the heck of it, since this, now this is a, where's her ruler? I think this is one that Angela gave me. 2 inches. So I do not believe, because this is cut on the bias, I don't think that it would rip. And I don't want to cut it down the middle to get it to be this size. So let's see what we can do with a 2-inch piece. Now, what I was thinking, and I just have a wee bit of this. So this is going to be a very short little experiment here. Could I be coordinated enough to do a double? And I'm sure I haven't invented this. Oh, I don't have much thread in my bobbin either. So let's just, oh, I said I usually leave a little bit at the beginning. Where's my brush? Let's get the needle in and the presser foot up so I can make a couple of folds. Presser foot down. Find your petal and then pedal to the metal. That's how some people drive cars. Very jackrabbity. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be beautiful. Beautiful. And don't be like me and be cheap with your thread. You need a good probably 4, 5, 6 inches of thread at the beginning. Sometimes I skimp, and then of course it comes apart, and then I have to rethread the needle, and you know, it's just false economy. So look at this. Now that is still pretty darn, I mean, it's the overall width is obviously still there. So, you know, there may be fewer applications where you would want to use something. Boy, I see I have shadows here. Look at this lamp just creeping around. Anyway, we're almost done. This would be fairly significant if you put that on the side of the page. So there would probably be fewer places. I mean, this would be more versatile. That's what I'm trying to spit out here. So I hope that this has been of some value to you. I guess I'm a little bit pleased that I was able to actually sew on camera. You know, I almost had to stand on my head to do it, but hey, it is possible, and I don't think it's been too painful for you guys. So yeah, maybe I'll have to do something like this again. I'm glad that I had something suitable to try with this idea, because I think there's possibilities. Now, I've used a fabric thing that was just sitting here. You know, one of those that gets narrower and narrower because it was cut crooked in the first place. I love this pattern, by the way. But, you know, a person could also do the same thing with lace. So that would be pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. So, yeah, maybe give this a try if you've got more bias tape than you know what to do with, because I think you'd be happy with the results. And again, don't sweat it. You know, we don't want it to look like a machine did the sewing. So whatever will be, will be. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.